Good afternoon. I hope the retreat is going well for you and that you're finding these talks and inputs helpful. The Easter liturgies provide us with very rich symbols, and even though we can't fully participate this year, it's really good to spend time on our own or with our families exploring their richness and depth. On Good Friday, we're approaching the halfway point of the Triduum, and if the vigil at the resurrection provides the high point, then Good Friday provides us with the all-important depth to the journey, the bit that makes the heights possible. When I was thinking about what's the appropriate mood for this little liturgy, the thought came to me of Psalm 68 and the line, "I have sunk into the mud of the deep and there is no foothold." Because it's about having the humility to accept our own powerlessness, and to get through it we need to be committed to our own lives and to accept the gift God is giving us through our own suffering. The liturgy starts with the priest coming in and fully prostrating himself before the altar. It's a very powerful sign, full of a complete surrender, which mirrors Jesus' example from the letter to the Philippians. He was humbler yet, even to accepting death on a cross. The liturgy then starts with the reading from Isaiah 52, the suffering servant, and we get that line, "As the crowds were appalled on seeing him, so disfigured he looked." It's a shocking image, and it should stop us dead in our tracks, even if we've heard it many times before. How well do I actually recognize or know Jesus? And for that matter, how do I even know myself? And then several sentences later we get the line, "Ours were the sufferings he carried." The sudden realization of our own guilt. It's like a "you are the man" moment, which comes when the prophet Nathan confronts David over his arrangement of the death of Uriah the Hittite to cover up his adulterous affair with Bathsheba, and he thought he'd got away with it. "You are the man," says the prophet Nathan. And David's response is to put his hands up and say, "I have sinned against the Lord." There's no excuses, no ifs, no buts. It should be for us a very sobering moment and have the effect of producing compunction of heart, a complete deflation of our puffed up ego. What have I done? St. Benedict, in his chapter on humility in the Rule, quotes in the 6th stage of humility the line from the psalm, "I am a worm and no man." This is a moment when we gladly occupy that space. It wouldn't do for us to live our whole lives from this space, but on Good Friday it's a good place to be. And then after this we read through John's Passion account with all the stages of betrayal, injustice, arrogance, fear, all these negative emotions swirling around. And it invites us to look at ourselves and ask, where am I in all this? How do I consciously or unconsciously act out my own woundedness and afflict it on others? After the prayers that come after the Passion, we come to the veneration or adoration of the cross, and it should serve as a visual aid and focus to the Passion reading we've just read. Also, with this, we have available some appropriate music, which you can download to aid you in your thoughts and meditations. Music is a wonderful accompaniment at this stage, as it opens us up in ways that readings perhaps don't. It also provides us with words and phrases that can become part of our own prayers. What this also does is allows us to move on from a position of acknowledgement of our complicity in Jesus' passion to a realization that actually he has done all this for our benefit, for you and for me. It was all part of his plan. We can now start to appreciate and give thanks for his woundedness and great sacrifice. We can also start to draw strength from his example. We can start to have trust and faith in his way of surrender, and we can make it our way of being with God during our own suffering. We can also start to open up in gratitude for what we receive through him. It can become our way of coping with anything that life throws at us. His passion can, if you like, act as a handrail for us to guide us through our own trials and temptations, our own passion. So we reverence the cross now, conscious of the great power Jesus unlocks for us through it. Good Friday is traditionally a time to go to confession. Sadly, this isn't possible this year. However, what I would recommend is that this evening you take some time out for some quiet personal prayer, when you can bring to the Lord your own woundedness and need for healing and forgiveness, and ask the Lord to give you his healing touch. And later, Marianne and Hannah will give you some practical suggestions about how you could go about this. Good Friday is a special day. It's a day when we allow the Lord, through his own passion, to really minister to our own woundedness in a deep, life-changing way. So I invite you to really open yourself, to dispose yourself to this experience and to this blessing. Amen.